Greetings and salutations, brave hearts and Coach Mad Hatters, and welcome to the pre-meditation session in conjunction with the latest Coach Mad Hatter's situation report, plus the compliments and compliments transcript, which is currently posted on Scribed. The link is in the description box below. This meditation session has been crafted to highlight moments of self-study, story as a curriculum, and intrapersonal creativity. The core reference to the compliments and compliments transcript is the Disney film A Wrinkle in Time, which is directed by Miss Ava DuVernay. The meditation itself is through a 16-card spread of Uno cards mixed with a color coordinate palette of chakra stations, in addition to definitions of basic numerology. The motive of this particular meditation session is to discover the possible clues and cues surrounding today's full moon, which is also known as the buck moon, and the eclipse, which is in Capricorn 24 degrees. And since I have a Capricorn sun, in addition with a Virgo moon and a Virgo rising, both of my planetary influences are in retrograde. Things are happening in my life that feels incredible to just be polite about the situation. But it's an incredible challenge. Let's just to be fair. Um, and so instead of whining about it as I usually do, what I have been encouraged to do is to utilize what I have been learning and discovering over the last 6 months, in addition to some of the downloads, if you will, that I have been accumulating, taking notes, jotting them down in my journal, and then the reflection upon all of the sources that I just named. And so in combination of all of them has been brewing this recipe to seek out messages so that I may have a better understanding of what I am personally going through. With that said, the 16 card layout that's before me is in representation of yellow, the solar plexus, blue, the throat chakra, red, the root chakra, and green, the heart chakra. And so first card out is yellow, number 7. Oh, before I even get started, I want to pay homage to Lulu I Love at the House of Oshun for giving us the idea to pull Uno cards for messages that would help us lighten up the path and bring certain clarity to the forefront. So first card out is the yellow number 7 upright. And so this is to speak to my solar plexus. And the number 7 in upright reminds me of my analytical thinking as well as my inventive meditations. So just with this card alone tells me that I should remain in a meditative state during this time, and that my solar plexus, since this card is the first card out, gives me the indication that focus on my solar plexus is very important, as well as the nurturing of my analytical mind and my inventive feedback that I receive while in meditation. Now, this is also to go in conjunction with my life path number, which is number 7, which stands for the seeker. And so just with that little bit of information alone tells me that during this time, even though I am knee deep in challenges, that I must remain analytical to not jump to conclusions and not spaz out, for the lack of a better term, while everything seems to be piling on. And the second card out is the yellow draw 2. So to me, that tells me not only must I remain mindful of the information that the yellow number 7 upright says to me, but times 2. So I really must ground myself in my meditations and make sure that I continue to renew my analytical thinking and do not, what can I say, latch on to anything that's coming to the forefront right at the moment, to just analyze it and journal and take my notes and just see how things unfold. So the second card out is the blue number 6 in reverse. And so what that's telling me is that in my communications, I have to remember and be mindful of my stubbornness as well as my self-righteousness. That during this time, especially as a Capricorn sun, it's easy for me to become very stubborn and set in my ways and figure in some shape, form, or fashion that the way I see it is automatically right. Now, what's very interesting about this particular card, and it reminded me of such things, is the stubbornness I can relate to. The self-righteousness, not so much, mainly because the last 10 years it just seems like I've been shrouded in mistakes. So I think, or I feel more so, that the self-righteous part of it is probably what I need not step into, more so than it's telling me that I need to check it. I believe it's telling me that I need to watch it so that I don't activate that part of it, to remain humble and just see how things flow. Fourth card out is the red number 9 in reverse. And so, and I'm going by an at a glance numerology chart that I handwritten um, to allow me to learn more about just the basic, the fundamentals of numerology as I continue on with my studies. And so, if the if the number 9 was upright, it stands for creativity and giving and warm communications and a welcoming personality. But with it being in the reverse, it is reminding me to watch my moodiness as well as my carelessness and pay attention to where I may feel that I am attention deprived. And it goes so well with a couple of urges that I've been having in the last couple of days where I'm borderline attention whore. Like I have to discipline myself not to do things unnecessarily just to get attention because I am in this cloud of uncertainty, not knowing what's happening or what my next move is right at the moment. And it makes me antsy. It makes me want to get on the phone and want to start calling and talking to different people to see if my answers is somewhere hidden in conversation. But I see why the card came out in reverse to remind me of such things, because doing that will upset my groundedness. It will somehow shake up my root chakra, and not in a positive way, which could ultimately keep me in the moody syndrome and become very carelessness and flighty. And now is the time for me to stay grounded, eyes wide open, 10 toes down, right? And so card number 5 is the green reverse. Now, this is quite interesting because the moment that I saw it, it immediately told me that my heart has to remain a revolving door, and that my stubbornness can so easily close off my heart that I get rigid in some of the things that is going down in this span of time has a lot to do with what it is that I really need to be paying attention to, so that some of this karmic debt can be redeemed and rectified, reconciled, if you will. And so card number 6 is the 8, the red 8 upright. And so 8 in its upright position is decisive, political correctiveness, sharp judgment, causality, and sound advocacy. Seeing the red number 8 upright confirms to me that me staying grounded and constantly being aware of the constructive feedback that bubbles up during my meditation sessions, that it will do my root chakra well to stay on the pace that I have going right now. And that being a Capricorn and being of earth, being of the earth elemental, that my focus with nature and getting up early so that I can hear the birds sing, and making sure that I get as much uh, plant, and I want to say dietary, but whatever it is that consists in my plant life, to stay an honorarium of my plant life. Let me say it like that. Card number, what card are we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Card number 7 is actually the red draw 2. So, as with the first draw 2, what it's telling me is that I am to reiterate, or I am to double time the message that comes through with the red 8 upright. So whatever I've been doing to make sure that I stay grounded and my root chakra stays nourished, I am to step that up times 2. Next card out is the red number 7 upright, which also tells me that not only am I to pay attention to the numerology of number 7 as I do for my solar plexus, but I am also to do that for my root chakra, which is continue to respect in reciprocity what comes up as a result of my analytical thinking and my inventive meditations. Next card out is the yellow number 5 upright. So again, speaking of my solar plexus, and the number 5 is in conjunction with visionary, expansive, explorer, action driven. And so while I meditate on my solar plexus, I am to keep those keywords in mind so that my confidence will stay in balance, and that what's going on during this phase, especially as the sun opposes Capricorn, that I am to remain steadfast in the fuckery that could cross my path, and that I should not lose confidence in all that I have already been gathering, especially with respect to the relationship that I have with self, and how it's taken me years to get in alignment, in harmony with this courtship. And that even though certain decisions that I have made has not really landed me where I would have liked to have been in this journey, especially as a Coach Mad Hatter, especially as the founding member of the Affinity Club. With that being said, though, much has taken place that has allowed me to bear witness to the power of conversations with self, investments in my emotional solitude, emotional investments in my quietude, investigations in my psychological, as well as my as well as my biorhythms. Now, with regards to my biorhythms, yes, I am still a work in progress, but it still feels like I am making, even if it's the slightest or the smallest bit of progress, progress is still being made. Now, what's interesting about this phase right now, it feels like it's all being threatened. And so I must remain the visionary with where I'm going, and not lose sight and optimism, knowing that I am the explorer and I am action driven, as well as all the work and time and attention and focus and investigations that I have been putting in thus far has the catalytic value of being expansive. With that said, the next card is the yellow number 9 in reverse. And so, as I said earlier, the number 9 in reverse keeps me mindful of my moodiness and my carelessness and my need for attention when I'm feeling deprived. And with it being yellow, it tells me that if I am not mindful to care for such elements of what's going on right now, that my solar plexus could be compromised. And so the next card is the number 4 yellow upright. And this is a good time now to just say, to give an account that there are 5 yellow cards on the board. So just at a glance, it lets me know that my care for my solar plexus chakra station is truly a priority during this time, and that I need to make sure that I care for those areas. And so the number 4 upright has a lot to do with integrity, as well as my strong follow through, and my high practicality. And so things that I have already begun to put in motion, I am to continue with. I am also to make sure that I do not waver in my integrity regardless of past faults, and that whatever is brought to my attention, whether it comes through conversation with self or conversation with others, that I am to stand aware of it, but not allow it to infuse me as judgment in a way where it will falter my integrity. And saying that is a wonderful segue into the next card, which is the blue number 4 in reverse. And so when the number 4 is in reverse, it has a lot to do with loss of creativity, the screwing up of details, losing sight of the bigger picture, and being slow to launch or land. And it makes so much sense because I'm a true believer that there is power in our words, whether it's spoken or written, and that the way that I use my words, and I can't say that I'm completely good in this area, but I'm working on it. And so this was the perfect reminder. And even I have to say, in the last 2 or 3 days, me and my best friend seem to be having a mirror of circumstances going on. And so we have just been the sounding board for each other's frustration. Now, I think it's going to come a time when we will cap this, mainly because he's a Sagittarius. And so, yes, we are talking about the ultra optimistic Jupiter as his ruling planet. So I know it's just a matter of time, but we do have to allow ourselves certain space to unpack how we feel in these moments when we are being greatly challenged, especially when it feels like no answers are arriving and our backs are up against the wall. And so, yes, it's good to have conversation with self, but it's also good to have one or two folks within your circle that will just allow you to unfold and just lay all the frustrations out on the table and help you sift through some shit. With that being said, the the blue card in reverse coming out today lets me know that there still will come a moment in time where I am going to have to become wise with my words, or else it will affect my communications moving forward. And with that being said, what is such a beautiful segue into the next card, which is the number 4, red in reverse. So it tells me that if I am not careful, that also my root chakra may be affected by such things, and that all of my integrity will go flying out the window, and I will lose my creativity. I will terribly screw up the details. I will lose sight of the bigger picture, and that my efforts to launch or land will become slower than what they already are. And the more and more I look at the way that the cards came out and the way they are laying, the way they lay out and line up, the message becomes even more solid to how it fits me personally. And my reason for recording this is just to serve as the humble messenger, where if it allowed some insight to me, that those who come across it and it resonates, it may offer some insight to you. So the next card out is the blue number 8 upright. And immediately to see that, I knew that it has a lot to do, of course, with my throat chakra. So my communication efforts, I must pay keen attention to. And so the number 8, when it is in its flow, as we've mentioned earlier, is about decisiveness so that you don't be of double mind, that you know what you know, that you know, and so that you may move in solid confidence with that which it is that you know, as well as your infusions of political correctness and your sharp judgment and your causality and your sound advocacy. And it works so well for me in my efforts to honor thyself, especially for me right now in this time and space, because since 2009, I have been getting to know thyself. And yes, it has taken me 10 slow but gradual years to get in a rhythmic courtship with myself so that I may understand what's truly going on. And I'll be the first to admit, like, it's still, the last 2 years has just been the tip of the iceberg. There's still so much to me waiting for me to explore. My life path as a seeker is not by mistake, it is truly by design. And so, knowing myself, I believe it's going to be a lifelong journey. But I'm really glad that I have actually started the quest and have crossed the threshold and have at least 10,000 hours in, countless hours of conversation with myself. And so seeing the blue number 8 upright confirms to me that I must keep honoring the relationship that I have with myself and become very protective, even though I already am. So I should say, stay protective with my time and my attention. I scrutinize what I let in through my eyes and my ears. A couple of days ago, I had the notion to just go back and review a few Bobby Hemmett lectures, and I came across, um, and I can't think of. Hold on, I think I wrote it down, but it's going to give you the exact name of the lecture, the one that specifically, specifically moved me. Yes, The Coming of the Cosmic Elite, parts 1 and 2. And Brother Panic has it on his YouTube page, Occult Lectures, which you can access through his website, occultlectures.com. And so I bumped into that, and it was so timely. I mean, divine timely it was, because in his opening statements of the lecture, he reminded me of the coordinates of the never ending story and how the nothingness was threatening the total existence of the childlike empress. And it really hit home for me because not only is it one of my favorite stories, but I identified with so many characters in the story. But the two main ones was Atreyu and the childlike empress. And I am not truly a fan of the film, but I'll watch it just because it's entertaining and I love the fantastical feel that it has to it. But quite honestly, the audiobook is truly a treasure. So if you ever get a chance to spend some time with the audiobook and you are into such fairy tales, I think it'll do your heart some good. So seeing the blue number 8 upright, I was affirmed on many levels, really affirmed in my mode of how I communicate. So I was very happy to see the blue number 8 upright. So the next card is the red number 6 upright. And so to me, what it said to me was that in order for my heart, I mean, excuse me, in order for my root chakra to get the best nourishment ever, that I must remember my modes of artistry and I must invest in my actions of advocacy and humanitarianism, and I must stay balanced in my good, my bad, my urban ugly, my right, my wrong. And Dr. Carl Gustav Jung, yes, the Swiss psychotherapist from back in the day, and he is widely known, and you can look him up. He is responsible for the evolution of the MBTI, which is the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, self-assessment, as well as the source of individuality. And if I'm not mistaken, um, I believe Maslow might have been a Jungian scholar, I believe, but don't hold me to that. For some reason, it's telling me that he was, um, but I'm not sure. Um, but in Jungian psychology, it speaks heavily about our investment in our individualism and that we are to understand and embrace both sides of ourselves, our light side and our shadow side. And only right in the medium will we truly be able to find harmony in our existence. And so with the red 6 upright, it confirms to me that by staying grounded and staying true to my meditation moments and making sure that I connect with Gaia as much as I possibly can, and that I feed my curiosity to seek things and explore things, that I will remain balanced, whether I'm traveling with my light self or my shadow self, and that I am not to ignore, shun, or put on a pedestal either one of them, that I am to remain in neutral territory so that the harmony may ebb and flow however it's going to. And so the last card out, and this is the one that I have in contemplation because I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to settle in on what it's telling me, but it's the green skip card, okay? And the way it looks just in visual terms, it looks like the heart is closed. It's closed off. that is being skipped, right? But then when I take a second look at it, I toggle between maybe it is because what it looks like is a full circle with a balanced path going through it, that the heart must remain open and things in life will come about that will bring us full circle. But as long as we stay balanced, we actually can make a beeline right through without a great deal of leaning one side, leaning from one side to the other. That it's a the line going through it literally signifies balance to me. And so I think that's the one that I'm going to go with. I think that's the more uh, resonating message to me when I see the card in relation to what's going on with me and my heart chakra and where I am being led to continue to discover and explore. And so there you have it. That is the pre-meditative session for the situation report, A Wrinkle in Time, with regards to our, and I'm just going to say our cosmic compliments and compliments. I will unpack that a little bit more in detail when we get into the actual situation report and how it relates to the various details of the film A Wrinkle in Time. And I just say the film because I have yet to read the book. But to keep it balanced, I'll say more so the storyline or the plot or the messaging within the storyline and what I was able to pull from it in relation to what I'm dealing with as this full moon gets underway and the eclipse is signatured in Capricorn. And so, with that being said, I thank you for your presence. Um, Please go and check out the transcript, which is on Scribed, and I'll see you on the flip side when we unpack the situation report.